to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. Our founding fathers crossed the seas and built the new world colonies, but King George wouldn't set them free, so they fought a revolution.
Going to open on 1, 2.
Hi, my name's Diane. You're currently watching the Just Kidding Around show. It's a pleasure to have you watch this show. We are inviting Jim Elder. Hi, Jim.
Hello there.
And Jim was on our show once before. What, about?
Oh, I don't know, a couple of years ago.
Couple, more like 5.
Okay, could be 5 years
So
ago.
anyway, before we start our show, we like to say hello to a few people in the audience. Is there anybody you want to say hi to?
Okay, hello to all my railroad friends. You know who you are.
Was our gang a railroad guy? Yeah. And hi to all of you out in YouTube land. You're going to be learning some things today about railroad scenery. Is that right?
Right. I thought,
Okay.
Yeah, this was a little quick to put together production. I had about a day to do this, so we'll just kid around. That's the name of this one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The name of the series is Just Kidding Around, in case you want to watch any of our other shows. But they don't always deal with trains. We have 15 years worth of a huge variety of programming. So, wow, where do we start?
Well, I'll start off by saying what you're seeing is some representative craftsman work of what is called in this country, and I think it's not arguably, but it's the country's greatest hobby. There's probably more people.
This is?
Yes, more people involved with trains than there are with airplanes and boats.
Where'd you get that information?
Well, I don't know if it's propaganda or not, but you can go if you're really curious and you'd like to find out a little bit more about these things other than what I'm showing you. You ought to go and visit a website called the American Model Railroad Association, or NMRA.
Okay. MMRA.
No, yeah. National Model Railroad. NMRA. Just do an NMRA search and you'll start there.
Model,
and from there you can find out if you're in this area and you want to find out what's going on in the Northwest region. There'll be a subgroup there, and from there you can find out what's happening. But for instance, there's something happening this weekend in our little group here, but it's by invitation only, so I'm not going to mention it. We'll get inundated by everybody.
So did I hear you right that you said that model railroading is the biggest national
hobby?
Yeah. Okay.
Most popular, and
Interesting.
you don't see it like you see on the sports programs and golf and
Fishing
football
and
and fishing and all that. Lots of people are closet railroaders, as we'd say, and you'll be surprised how many of them there are in Olympia. But there's probably a group of about 25 of us that are very active, and we actually spread out and go visit other railroads in Seattle. And I was up at Woodby Island last. 2 weeks ago, we were operating railroads on Woodby Island. But today, I just bring a few things in to show the audience how we build some of the replicas that you see on the model railroad.
So are these kits, or did you make them yourself?
Well, some are kits, and yes, kits. Made them all, but some are kits. For instance, this one here, this little depot, is a kit, and it comes like going to the lumber yard, a box full of lumber and some instructions, hopefully that work out, and then you with some technique. This is not a beginner's kit. This is an advanced kit.
Okay, and is this patterned after an actual?
Yes. On the side here, I don't know if you can see it, but it says Wells Fargo. This is one of the Wells Fargo.
Yeah,
maybe sure. Maybe they can be. But this is one of the Wells Fargo depots. It'd be a railroad track running right along here, and people would bring their cargo in, and they'd process it and put it on the cars, and it would get shipped off where it needs to go.
So Wells Fargo, did they have more than one of these, or was each one unique?
Well, they had a lot of them that were standard construction.
Long that look like
Yeah,
this,
right.
huh? And this is built to scale.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you about this roof.
Well, this is
Holy
variety material.
smokes.
There's basswood. Majority of the construction is a little bit harder wood than, say, balsa wood that's popular in a lot of model building. But this is basswood. It's a little harder and makes a stronger structure. But the shingles are made of paper.
But each one of those shingles is cut separately. The cameras probably can't see
yes,
that.
you can
but
see there,
How
yeah.
many shingles would you say there are on this
Oh,
roof?
there are 1,000 of them on there for
A
sure.
1,000, you think?
Oh,
Wow.
easily. Right?
There's a lot, and you hand cut that.
Yes, and
You have to have
it's just like building a building, you know, a
couldn't
regular
have a
building.
shaky hand and do that. You have to have a
Well,
steady hand.
I keep telling people that there's a certain amount of skill involved in this, and probably about 20%, but you need 80% patience.
Patience.
You're not in a rush to do these things. You want to make an accurate model. You have to
Okay.
have patience. Yeah.
So I saw a quick shot. Somebody had a quick shot of the roof, and then it
Oh, did?
disappeared. So
Okay.
I hope they.
Well, I don't know if you can
that
see,
showed.
get it out of the shade a little bit. You can see some of the number one camera. Maybe you can see that a
Shut
little
its
bit better.
camera.
You can see underneath.
Underneath?
Yeah.
Are you
You
trying
can
to
see
get
some
it?
of the structure. And there's a little man inside at a desk. He's ready to do business. Whoever comes in
So
has
do you
some
put the
cargo.
man in last, or do you build? this
Well,
thing
actually,
around him?
okay, I thought you'd ask that. I'll surprise you here. I'll do that.
Ah.
See, there he is in there. And this is
That's-
basically the inside of the structure, which is pretty simple. You can see.
There. Did you build the man too? Or you-
No, that
Okay.
you can, but
Really?
there are some things that you let other people do for you.
Yeah.
You might have to paint them, but that's it.
So would you say this whole hobby is multi-generational, like grandpas and grandsons?
Absolutely, yes.
Except
we
when
have.
you said patience, I know a lot of grandsons that might and
Well,
granddaughters that might not have the patience.
Yeah,
for
well,
this.
that's an interesting thing to bring up because the club I belong to has some young members. They're 12, 13, 14 years old.
Really?
And we teach them a little bit of patience. And we teach them a little bit about electronics and how to use tools and how structures are put together. You know, it's just not run the train around circles and do nothing else. There's a lot more to it than that. But anyway, here's another structure right here. This is a kit.
Yeah, a kit that you still had to cut.
Oh, yes, there's a lot of work. It probably
shingles
took me 3 weeks to build that.
3 weeks of how many hours a day?
Oh, well, it's 30 hours of work total,
About
probably.
30 hours a week. Okay.
All right.
May I move
Yeah,
this?
sure. This one.
Oh.
And this one right here is,
Yeah, it looks like horse stalls or outhouses.
this one right here is a scratch built. Now, all I had was a picture
Oh, I'm sorry.
of this facility. And what it is a coal bin. And the reality that a railroad car comes right up to here, stops, and this is
For the steam.
This is 1890 vintage type of railroad. So somebody would shovel the coal out of the hopper car into this coal bin, and people would come by for coal for their house. They come in and buy it from a local vendor.
Yeah.
And so there was just a picture of this. It's made out of scaled 2x4s and planks, and a lot of this material I just found at craft stores.
So you just
Were
looked
really
at the
inexpensive.
picture in a magazine.
Yes.
Or something.
And this is a roof. Again, it's paper with a little bit of tar in between the
And
seams.
is it any special paper? Or?
No, it's just a heavy craft paper.
Okay.
You can find that at, again, any of the craft stores. That's one thing you find out when you're a modeler. If you rely on kits, it gets to be expensive. But once you've had a few years, you learn how to do these things from scratch. And you'll find out, and I've had a lot of people say this of their work, that it's really fun to find out problems, resolve problems, and find out how to build things and solve the construction problems. Like there's actually coal inside here. See, there's the coal. That's all the coal.
So you're saying
And these are materials that pink foam that you can find at any hardware store. And this is just another scrap of hard paper that you'd find in a folder.
so they didn't take the coal out
No.
and put it into the
In
train.
reality, what
the hot coals came out of the hopper and into this.
well, these were not hot coals. These are just coal that they were going to buy to put in their furnaces at home.
Okay.
But anyway, I put this in here to obscure a few.
know that about
This
trains.
actually sits on a layout like this, and there's backing like this, so you'll never see the back. So there's no reason for me to finish the back.
Well, still
So
it's
I didn't.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no one will ever see it.
Yeah. So, so you saw this in a magazine, and then you just developed your own. Wow,
right.
that's unbelievable.
And this is O scale, which is about
yes, okay.
about 1 foot is equivalent to about 43 feet. That's O scale.
Okay, is that one of the smaller scales?
No, that's one of the bigger scales, as a matter of fact. Yeah. You want to talk about scales a little bit, or a
No,
little
not
bit?
right now.
Well, I
Actually,
have some
I'm-
examples right
no,
here.
actually, I'm still fascinated by the coal. I never knew that people would buy the coal that had already been used in the steam engines.
No,
Is that what you're saying? Or am I
They
getting this wrong?
mine the coal.
They mined it.
And steam engines have a different facility to gather coal up, and it's right over there.
Oh.
And I don't know if you can pick that one. Careful with it; it's kind of free.
if I broke it?
Just put it
Ooh, I
right
could-
down the bottom, right there. And what to do? The steam engine would back up right here, and they would shovel coal into the tender to use
Okay.
in the steam engine. But that's the difference in the facilities. This one's to supply the steam engine. This one's to supply local people and their
Oh,
residents.
so it wasn't used coal. Got
No.
it. I got it now.
Yeah,
I got it. I
okay.
got it. So
I
it's
hope
new
everybody
coal
else
going
had
here.
that figured
Sorry,
that out.
that was kind of off the subject, but I wanted to get that down, and I didn't want to teach people wrongly.
Okay.
So this is coal that's going directly into the train,
That's right.
in the steam train.
Right.
So are all these like from approximately the same, like 1800s, all designed for steam trains? So you wouldn't have one building in the scene, in the
No.
scenery.
No,
The
you-
scenery is all kind of unique
No.
to a time period
We're
or
working,
something?
yeah, we're working on a railroad here that's what is called a freelance railroad. We just pick an era, but nothing specific. So it makes it easier to avoid complaints from people saying, this is not exactly right. Well, don't worry about it. This is just a freelance railroad.
Okay.
Similar to something that you would see in the 1890s.
1890s.
Yes.
Okay.
And the roofing that you were commenting about back
Yeah.
there, here's an example that's something you can print out on a printer. And you have to cut out each one of the strips, and then you stack them up like you would a regular roofing job
know-
with the cedar shakes, and it looks just like that when you're finished.
That's still a lot of work.
Well, yes, it is. Yeah.
That's still a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And what is the tool that you're using? Just
X-Acto
scissors?
knife,
Oh,
just a small X-Acto
yeah,
knife.
yeah. That's a lot of
X-Acto
work.
knife and a steel-edged ruler.
Okay.
'Cause it
I
helps
was
you-
going to
yes,
ask, what if you
right.
didn't get it straight? But if you
Right,
got
that-
a steel-edged ruler,
That
you
solves
should
it.
be okay.
Well, in this particular instance, the top is straight, the bottom is crooked, so you just run your X-Acto knife in a crooked manner down the front edge. It does. You don't have to be but these are slightly
size
different
to these
style. Yeah, see, these are slightly different style shakes than these.
So, and by
And-
the way, this show is on scenery. I don't know if we said that. This is on
okay.
railroad, model,
right.
train,
Right.
scenery, and during the time period of 1890. So do other people pick different time periods?
Yes, it's more modern, like right over there. You see all the white engine, the white and green engine, if somebody will look at that. And that is a modern era, and that's a model of the Cascade Talgo that runs between Vancouver, BC and
Okay.
Vancouver, Canada.
So as a modeler, would you call yourself, you do have different sets of scenery for different time periods?
And these particular ones, I'm working with another person. It is not my personal railroad, so I'm working with him to build these things for his layout.
Gosh, that's
Yeah.
nice of you.
Well, frankly, I have to be frank about it. He's paying all the money, and I'm having
okay.
all the fun.
All right, okay. But you do have other sets of scenery representing different time periods.
Yes,
Okay.
not at this one location though, but there are other people in the community that have end-scale railroads that are, 1930s, and one fellow is about 1950s, but he's an HO scale railroad,
Okay.
and then this is O scale, which is a little bit bigger. While we're talking about scales, here's O scale right here. Here's HO scale, which is part of that logging set right up there, and here is N scale. And this is this here is twice as big as this, and this is twice as big as this one right here.
N, O, and is this H?
HO. HO meaning this is O scale, and HO means it is half of O. half of O scale. Then N scale is approximately half of the size of this, or 160
Why
to
would
1.
anybody want to work in the N scale?
You can build a lot of railroad, a lot of scenery. You can cover a great big section of railroad,
and it'd be
do
smaller, it
more.
wouldn't take
And
up as much
it is
space.
really popular for people who like to do rail fan type of railroads. It means you set up a railroad and you run it continuously, go around and around and around. But it gets difficult to do what is the other popular type of railroading is switching or operational railroading, and that's when you're actually moving the cars like a regular railroad. You have a car that has to go from business A to business B to deliver materials, and you have to switch them and leave them behind and follow a time scale and all that business. But it gets a little more difficult to switch these little tiny couplers. That's why this is better, because it's easier to handle their couplers,
HO.
and this is even bigger because the coupler is a lot bigger. And you find it's
So
easier to operate.
Which is the most sold or the most popular?
Well, yeah, that has been true in the last 25 or 30 years. N scale was very popular for the reason I told you about. You can build a lot of railroads.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm afraid that more people that are interested in doing model railroad are
As
getting
the baby
older.
boomers,
We're
yeah.
getting older, and we
Baby
need
boomers
these
get
things
older,
to see
because
anything, you know?
The scale's getting bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
So you need bigger scale.
So this is so tiny. Are there people in there?
I don't think so, but there
I'm
are
surprised.
there are
Usually
some
have people
fanatics
in
that
them.
would probably try to do that, you know.
That'd be a lot of work.
Let's go to another model over here. Say that
Okay.
bridge. And that is an HO scale bridge. It would handle this type of vehicle right here.
Okay.
It would be for that.
And it can't go over
and
that,
the-
can it? There's no track.
Oh, there are no tracks. No, the tracks are not there for.
Okay.
But this is another scratch-built bridge where you have a concept. You learn a little bit about the engineering, read about where the wires are supposed to go and where the timbers are supposed to go, and then you build a model. Okay, that's.
So just a minute, I'm going to interrupt.
Okay.
There are kits that you can buy. You can look at pictures in books, and then you can just get the information without. This was like something you got.
Another, you find a
wasn't a
plan,
kit.
plans in
plan.
plan service or in a book.
So it's really three different
Yeah.
opportunities that you used here to.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Then there's the scratch build
like
again,
a
like
plan.
this is scratch build too.
Yeah.
But anyway, then you get, that's the hardware on a railroad. Then you have the flora that you've got to deal with. The trees, the grass, the mountains, the rocks,
And how do you do that?
the valleys.
Valley.
Well, we're going to talk about trees right here.
This is a tree we got
Now
here?
see, this is a tree. This is a simple tree, what we call a background tree, versus a foreground tree that looks a little more like a tree.
Oh, yeah.
These it takes a lot longer to build. This would probably take a couple hours to build.
That
With this
has
one
more
you can do it in
details.
15 minutes or less. But the idea is, so you put these in the background and you don't see the details. They kind of fade into the background, but the detailed ones are in front.
So this
You
gives
see
the
those.
illusion of distance.
But then
whereas-
again, these are some real simple materials. This is basically this stuff right here, which is furnace filter. So if you decide, don't throw your old furnace away, just rip out this thing and cut it all up in little blocks like this and stick it on a skewer. This is a skewer like
Yeah.
you use, cook your turkey.
Yeah, yeah.
And you push them on, and then you spray them with a little bit of hairspray glue, and then you sprinkle on a little bit of crushed foam that's been dyed. You can buy it in that form, or you can dye it yourself. But it's all crumbled up crushed foam. You sprinkle it
gonna
on, it
stand
comes
up
out
in
with
this?
something like that. And that thing would cost you, I don't know, 15 cents to build versus
Is this
this
an
one.
expensive hobby, do you think, in general?
Well, compared to what? Golf?
Oh, no. Okay. How about bowling?
Bowling?
No.
Well, no.
Bowling is
'cause you-
expensive,
yeah.
too.
And
Okay.
like I said, the people who model over a long period of time want to build their own things from scratch, get the enjoyment out of learning how to build the thing. And probably me too. I learned about history of the area, meet people, and then
Yeah.
building the model is just the extra.
Seems like it would keep your brain active too. More thinking involved
yeah,
than some
yeah,
other
yeah.
hobbies.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I learned stuff tonight about coal. I just never thought
Anyway,
about.
let's go on to the, see, these are different kinds of trees. See,
So
this is a
that's gonna go in
skewer
here
with
then?
furnace filters. This one is a store-bought tree. That's something like a blue spruce.
Spruce.
But it has a twisted wire here, and these are called, what are they called? They're called, it just went out of my head. Pop bottle trees, because you have two wires and you string this in between this material in between, which is rope, hemp. Then you twist it and it comes out like a cone, and then you just shape it, you know, and you end up with a tree like that.
So you made this?
Oh, that one I bought.
Oh yeah, I think you said that already.
And here's another one, a little smaller version. See where that'd be a blue
Now
spruce.
just
This is
stick
a
right in
fir tree.
there.
Yeah, you can just punch it in there.
I don't want to hurt it.
There we go. Yeah,
Did you
let's
buy
get it.
this one too?
This
Where'd you
one,
make
some
that?
of them you can, you know, it makes sense to buy. See, now this is what you call a background thing. You use something called forced perspective in a lot of the modeling. It makes your display look deeper.
Okay.
And you put a little tree like this in the background, and this little tree a little bit bigger, then this tree way up in front, and you pretend, and it looks like it's a lot farther away than it really is. And then back here, maybe you'd put a little house, you know, it's about this big, and this foreground has a big house like that, and that gives you the the perception that it's farther away.
Well,
and
you
that's
guys
called
think
forced
of everything.
perspective. Yeah.
See, this
Forced
has far
perspective.
more detail too. This is sort of looks like
Yeah.
something in the
Well, that's
background
that's
that
why
would be
the
very.
background. Yes, exactly, right.
Yeah. So where's all the detail in this? What's this about?
These are some materials that, again, you can find at the craft shop. You're looking at the floral displays. It doesn't look exactly like this, but it has prongs, you know, and you just snip off the little pieces you need, and the center of it's made out of balsa wood. So
And you poke that in
it's a
there?
balsa wood block, and then you shape it round, and then you taper it, and then you see, if you can see close, there are little grooves in it.
Yeah.
But those grooves are made with a wire brush, you know, like you clean metal with a wire brush. You just scrape
Is the
it along.
groove supposed to make it look like bark?
It makes it look like bark. Yeah. And then you scrape the grooves in it, then you dye it, and then you put these little pieces on one. That's why it takes a few hours in just one of these trees.
I
But
was
it's
going to
worthwhile.
say, just to do the tree.
But it's worthwhile to
bark
make the
would be a
effort
couple
because you
hours.
want something to look, you know, very sharp and accurate.
That looks very accurate.
And here's another, yeah, go ahead.
So this here, you bought like a long
Piece of wood, you know,
piece
of
wood,
balsa wood.
but you had to shape the wood,
Right.
taper the wood,
Yeah.
then rough the wood up
Yeah, then stain
before you even
Then stain
started
it.
thinking about putting
Uh-huh.
these green twigs in.
Well, I think it's
Oh,
worth
that's a lot
it
of work.
compared these two, you know, especially
And
when
this
you
is your
want this in the
15
front.
minute.
This is a 15 minute
minutes
tree.
altogether.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but see, even those two together. Wait, I'm going to try and get them.
Well, see, that's the
right
idea.
there, you can see that. Did you refer to it as a forced perception?
Forced perspective.
Forced perspective.
Yeah,
whatever.
you're gonna, I think,
I'll
have something
mess
about
them
that.
up.
But see, that's the
Okay,
idea. It
forced
goes in the background.
perspective.
All righty, and here is another example of what you do in the foreground over here. What you do in the
Okay.
foreground over here. This tree is
So that
a
this is
bigger
going to be
version
behind
of this.
this?
Well, no, this will be something, another tree that'll be close
Okay.
to it. But this is just a little example. You built a little diorama just to show your skills, basically. And
Okay.
there's a railroad, a little mining car, and a man, and you can see the grass right here, and this material right here is nothing more than this foam right here, that old pink foam. You just shape it the way you want. A little white glue over the top of it, sprinkle this green colored foam over the top of it, a little bit of dirt. I use real dirt. I go out and dig up the real dirt, sift it out nice and fine, put the dirt down, and then put the grass on top of it.
Yeah.
And the tree is built just like you build this one, only this is bigger. It's using the
Bigger,
same
yeah.
material. And the car is a purchased car. And you just...
Oh, you didn't build the car.
No, I didn't
I'm
build the car.
amazed.
No,
Oh.
that's a bit much, you know. There are a
Did
lot
you
of people
carve
who
out
do.
that man over there?
No, that is another purchased man like the one that was in the house here. These little
Okay.
cars right here, they actually dump. And on our railroad...
There was something in that
Yes,
car.
let me get it before it disappears
I think you're gonna
completely.
Okay. Was that
And,
coal?
No, that was...
What's in there?
That was a coupler. That was a little tiny coupler that you can't see.
Oh.
But anyway, on the railroad that I'm working on, we actually have action scenes where we actually dump, in this case, it'll be dumping limestone into a bin that will be fired to make limestone mortar. And the mortar
my
will be
gosh.
the mortar will be barreled up. The barrels will be put on a car, and the barrels will be delivered to a refinery where they use it in the steel making process and a
So
few
you're
other
saying,
things.
are you going to build the refinery and
Oh
everything?
yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a lot of, I see the patience part. What a lot of work. Now, are you working together as a group to do this?
Well, the person who owns the railroad, he and I are doing most of it. One of the cameramen back here, Jerry, he's helping out too.
So
Yeah.
this is part, when we were talking earlier, when you said that he pays for it and you have all the fun, so it's the same guy.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Now, once again, if somebody's watching this and maybe they don't live in our area, no matter where you live, if you Google or, call your public library and they will tell you where you can find, what is it?
No, National
NM.
National Model Railroad Association, NMRA.
Okay.
And that's any Google search, you'll find all kinds of information. But that will probably get you to the national organization. Then there will be reference to a Northwest group. And from there, you can find probably something in Olympia group. I know you can, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And once you get established and connected with the local group, you'll get to know everybody in the area.
Okay. But there are NMRA organizations all over the United States.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
yeah.
what a great thing to do if you have a kid and he has too much time and you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
this would be a great
Yeah.
thing
Like I
to
said.
get some kids started on.
Yes, like I said, that you learn a lot more than just running a train. You learn a lot
Yeah,
about how the
history.
world works.
Yeah, and patience, like you
Yeah,
said.
right,
Wow,
okay.
and it seems like attention to detail, maybe,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and being meticulous. So we're wrapping up. Thank you,
Okay.
Jim,
You're welcome.
very much for coming. It's great having you as a guest. And thanks, Famous Amos. And Dan stepped in, Dan the man stepped in today to run a camera. Thank you. Thanks, Jerry Jillian and Tom Dubuque. And goodbye, Mr. Feeney. Tune in again sometime.
Okay.
We the people here decree we've the right to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. Our founding fathers crossed the seas and built the new world colonies. But King George wouldn't set them free, so they fought a revolution, the American Revolution. Oh, we the people here decree we've the right to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. The English army came in boats. It was buckskin versus bright red coats. Then the Yankees won the war and wrote our country's constitution, the United States Constitution. Oh, we the people here decree we've the right to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. Through the passing years, the pioneers crossed the frontier without rest. Oh, the land was new when this country grew from the east coast to the west.